All right, everybody, it's 4 o'clock and we like to start promptly if we can. I know people are still joining us, which is wonderful. So welcome everyone to the May program of the Culinary Historians of Ann Arbor. I'm Glenda Bullock, the program chair of the CHAA. And our speaker today is Mr. Oswald Rivera, who is going to be informing us about Puerto Rican cuisine in America. Our online host for today's program is, as always, the Ann Arbor District Library, which provides us with tech support on Zoom and also shares the program on the library's YouTube channel, which is AADL TV. And by now, I know we're all pretty familiar with how Zoom works, but if you do not want your face to be seen on the recording, please turn off your video. Your microphone will be muted during the presentation, but Oswald is going to take questions at the end as time allows. And in order to ask a question, all you need to do is click on the chat icon, which is should be at the bottom of your screen. And you'll see a panel that will fly out to the right. And if you go down to the bottom where it says to, then there's a little caret, and we are going to ask you to select Ann Arbor District Library as the organization that you want to send your questions to. And then at the end, Oswald will answer as many questions as we have time for. One more tip, at the top right of your screen is a button that says view, and you will want to click speaker view or side-by-side view instead of gallery view for your very best viewing experience. So again, select speaker view. And before introducing our speaker, I always like to give a little information about the Culinary Historians of Ann Arbor. We're an informal group of people who are interested in the history and culture of food and cooking. And we have monthly talks between September and May, although we're adding an extra talk this month for June, since we are all on Zoom and we have that capability. We normally would meet on the third Sunday of the month at the Mallett's Creek branch of the Ann Arbor District Library, and we are very much looking forward to the day when we can all meet again in person. We have 2 participatory theme meals a year, sadly, unfortunately, right now on hold, but those are always fun, informative, and generally just a delight. Our membership is $25 a year for an individual or a family, and it includes a subscription to our quarterly magazine, Repast, which is edited by the very capable and talented Randy Schwartz. If you would like to join our group, you can find a membership form on our website, culinaryhistoriansannarbor.org, and then click on membership. And now it is my pleasure to introduce today's speaker. Oswald Rivera has always been committed to his passion for life through his writing. He has penned 5 books, 2 on food and cooking, and 4 novels. He's a Marine combat veteran of Vietnam. He was awarded the prestigious Purple Heart in addition to other honors. Oswald was born in Ponce, Puerto Rico, and grew up in New York's Spanish Harlem. He learned to cook watching his mother prepare family meals, and the desire to create his own culinary treasures began in earnest after he returned home from the war. Today, Oswald will speak on Puerto Rican Cuisine in America, which is the title of his first cookbook. Sprinkled throughout with Puerto Rican history, family lore, and the exotic origins of various recipes, this book is an experience rich in vibrant culture and sensuous food. And I've seen the slides that you are about to see, and I can guarantee you're going to be very hungry for Puerto Rican food at the end of his presentation. In its 3rd printing, his cookbook remains popular because it transcends borders and cultures in favor of simply enjoying good food. So, without further ado, welcome Oswald Rivera. You're on, Oswald.
Okay, thank you. Let me say, first of all, I would like to thank the Culinary Historians of Ann Arbor and for the honor of having this presentation. Let me start with how I came to write this book. When I first started out, most people did not know or were familiar with Puerto Rican cooking or Puerto Rican cuisine. In fact, the first book that was ever written on Puerto Rican cooking was a book that was published in San Juan in 1975 by Miss Carmen Boy Valdejuli. And the book was titled Puerto Rican Cookery. If we can have the first slide.
There we go.
Yeah, we're waiting for the first slide. So, okay, there we are. As you can see, Puerto Rican cookbook, Puerto Rican cookery. Now, can we have the second slide? As you see there, this is Miss Balde Julie, the author, so the author of the book, and that is her husband, Luis. And it looks like they're enjoying a nice, I think it's a rum drink. By the way, in my book, and I'll speak about it later, I have a whole section on rum drinks as well. Again, let me start with how I first came about to write about Puerto Rican cuisine. And Tyler, you can focus on me again. Okay. There we are. Okay. You know, technology, what are you going to do? Okay. As I said before, most Americans do not know much about Puerto Rican cuisine. Basically, we Puerto Ricans have been in the mainland for quite a while. So there are a lot of us, and according to the latest census, in the island of Puerto Rico, there are 3.1 million people. In the mainland, we have 5.8 million. So you see that, you know, we've come into our own in terms of our culture as it relates to American history. Now, our cuisine is basically a mix. It's what it is. It is a potpourri of various elements. It relies heavily on Spanish cuisine when the Spaniards came over, native Caribbean cooking, and African influences. So as you can see, you know, we just encompass just about everything there is. Now, what I would like to do is I would like to start, if possible, with the book itself. If you notice, the book says Puerto Rican Cuisine of America, but it also has Nuyorican and bodega recipes. Now, what is this Nuyorican thing? Okay. A Nuyorican is a Puerto Rican who was born or raised in New York. That's it. Now, Nuyorican initially was a term to define us, and it was a pejorative term. Think of the term gay with the LBGT community. They took the term gay and made it their own, and we did the same thing with the nomenclature, so that, you know, we're Nuyorican, and guess what? We're proud of it. Okay. Now, in terms of the cuisine, when the Spanish first came to Puerto Rico, the island was inhabited by indigenous peoples known as the Tainos. That's Tainos. Now, when the Spanish came over, naturally, they began calling the Tainos the Taino Indians. And that came about because when Columbus first came to the New World, he was faced with all these indigenous populations, and he had to name them something. So he used the term Indian, which is incorrect, but that's how it became. So that was it. We became the Taino Indians. The Tainos, their diet primarily consisted of fresh vegetables, specifically mainly root plants and seafood. The Spanish, when they came over, they brought with them as new comestibles the potato, pork, and chicken. So that our cuisine today reflects these two influences. For instance, we still eat a lot of root plants and we still eat a lot of seafood, but beef and pork still feature predominantly in the diet. Okay. As to the diet itself, the basic side dish that we have is rice. And when we mean rice in every category and every manner. So if we can have that, the next slide. Well, this is what happens in technology. Okay, let's go back to the. Bear with me, please. Let's go back to the Miss Paula Julie and the Nuyorican aspect of it. Okay, you can show the slide again of Mr. Mr. Miranda. Okay. Now, just to keep it in perspective, I'm going to show you some famous Nuyorican, okay, that have contributed mightily to American culture. This is one of them is Mr. Lin Manuel Miranda. He's an actor, producer of the Broadway hit Hamilton. Next. Of course, we all know Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. She's the congresswoman from the Bronx. Next. This is Neil deGrasse Tyson, the internationally acclaimed astrophysicist. Yes, he is a Nuyorican. And finally, there she is, Miss Sonia Santamayor. So again, these are Nuyoricans that have come to the that have contributed to American society. Now, going back to the cooking, if we can have the first rice slide. Okay, here. Again, our rice encompasses every variation from, as you see here, on the left is yellow rice, and on the right, you see plain boiled rice. Two popular dishes. Next. We also do magic things with them. Like, for instance, here you have arroz con caramales. That is rice cooked with squid. And it is the squid, the sack of the squid, which black ink that gives the rice its fabulous color. And finally, we have the final caption with the rice, which is paella. As we all know, it's a great famous dish even here in the U.S. And paella was something that we got from Spain. Okay. Now, the main accompaniment besides rice in our cuisine is beans. And we can have the bean slide, please. And we have beans in every form and shape, from black bean soup, which is again one of our staples, very nutritious, to the next, to garbanzo chickpea salad. So you see, we encompass a lot with the rice and the beans. Again, we love both. We love rice. We love beans. However, the one thing that makes our cooking different from, let's say, our Northern American counterparts lies in three magic words: sofrito, adobo, and achote. So we can show the sofrito. As you can see, sofrito is a mix of green bell peppers, garlic, sweet peppers, and recao, which is a small stem green herb. And again, that is the frito, one of the triumvirates that makes up the cornerstones of our cuisine. The next one, as you can see, and that is adobo, which is a mixed garlic, peppercorns, and oregano. And adobo, as we know, has become quite popular in the last few years in terms of overall American cooking. The next one in our triumvirate is achiote. Now, achiote are annatto seeds that are cooked in olive oil, and this gives the annatto seeds like a very deep red color. It goes from pink, so that you can have like yellow rice, to red, so that you can have Spanish red rice. And this is what we use for the coloring. Now, you've gotten the three basic staples. What I would like to do is to show you an overview of Puerto Rican cuisine. Let's start out with a normal meal. So we start out, let's say, for instance, with appetizers. So let's show the first appetizers here. Okay, this is papas rellenas. What they are, these are stuffed potatoes with meat and vegetable stuffing. Next, tostones. You cannot speak of Puerto Rican cuisine and in terms of appetizers other than tostones. Tostones, we serve instead of bread with all our meals. Basically what they are green plantains, what we call plátanos, that are basically deep fried. We also have ripe plantains as well, but that's, I'll discuss that more later on, okay? So that's, you have an example of our appetizers. Now, let's go to the soups. The first one that you have is Asopao. Asopao is, you might call it, it's the archetypical Nuyorican soup. Asopao, the word itself, I think it's a made up, it's a conjure up word. Sopa in Spanish means soup. So asopao would be like a grade 8 soup, a hearty stew that is, let me see, that basically is rich with rice, pork, peas, tomatoes, peppers, and assorted spices. Okay, think of the Moroccan stew tangine or the French bouillabaisse, and you get the idea. Okay, next comes sancocho, another archetypical Puerto Rican stew. Some say it's similar to the French cassoulet, where pork, beans, lamb, and sausage are all mixed together in a casserole. Well, this is our version. Now, finally, next, Galdo Gallego, what we could define as the queen or king of the soup pantheon. This is a vigorous soup that came to us by way of Galicia, which is a historic region in northern Spain. Let me say that Caldo Gallego is so popular in our culture that even today, in the town of Ponce, where my parents hail from on the southern part of the island, most restaurants and eateries you will judge by the quality of the Caldo Gallego. They may have the best arroz con pollo, the rice and chicken, they may have the sancocho, but the Caldo Gallego will determine if you're going to eat at this restaurant. Now, next, let's go to salads. Let's see what we do with salads. Okay, this is ensalada de almejas con aguacate y tomates. Simply clam, tomato, and avocado salad. This is a clam meat salad. You know, it's funny. With our salads, we include various seafood in it. So we basically experiment quite with it. Again, this is a good hearty salad that with a white wine, a good white wine on the crust of bread, it will make a great dinner for you. Okay, next. Okay, now, this is a more simple, elegant yet simple salad. What it is ensalada de cebollas con garbanzos. All it is onion and chickpea salad. Again, this would be like a great summer favorite. Okay, we got with the salads. Let's get on to the chicken. See what we do with chickens. Okay, here you got pollo empanado. This is our version of breaded chicken. Now, this is not the chicken patties that you get from Wendy's or McDonald's. You know, this is a succulent dish, and usually it pairs well with rice pilaf and the aforementioned tostones. Okay. Next, the next example would be pollos con dumplings. That's chicken and dumplings, but these are Nuyorican dumplings. For difference. Now, Nuyorican dumplings mainly, it's basically the way we do it is, with us, it is a mix of flour, yellow cornmeal, baking powder, onion, and cilantro. Okay, let me say this. I'll measure our Nuyorican dumplings against any dumplings in the whole world. I mean, they are they are that good. Okay. Now, let's go on to the next one, which, by the way, is a family would be a family favorite, and this is what we do with our pork dishes. Okay. In terms of pork, this is chuletas rellenas. These are stuffed pork chops that I've also seen in other. In fact, I also saw them in Europe and in France. But again, this is our version of a stuffed pork chops, and basically, it's stuffed with onion, garlic, breadcrumbs, green peppers, and olives, and it makes for a wonderful, great Sunday dinner. Now, the next one. This is really a treat. This is, oh boy, mofongo con chicharrón. This is probably one of the most favorite dishes that we have in Puerto Rico. If you go to any Puerto Rican restaurant, or let's say a Cuban restaurant, you're gonna find mofongo con chicharrón. All it is crushed green plantains that are shaped, and they're filled with pork crackling. That is stir-fried pork. And again, it's usually served with a sauce. Modern variations, you can stuff it with, let's say, seafood or beef. But if you're gonna go for the genuine Puerto Rican mofongo, it has to be stuffed with pork. I mean, hey, that's it. That's the family favorite, okay? Now, moving on, here we go to the fancy dishes. For instance, veal. This is ternera en fritze, or veal stew. This is our version of a veal stew, and normally it's served with arroz con gandules. That means it's a rice with pigeon peas, which are also popular in our cuisine, and it makes for a glorious supper for a very special occasion. And then next, believe it or not, this is a Nuyorican rack of lamb. This is what my father calls a highfalutin dish. It's lamb, Nuyorican style, that's cooked with garlic, oregano, black pepper, melted butter, and yes, a dash of rum. Puerto Rican rum. Okay. It's again, it's what we would call that special dish for that special occasion. So get the idea. So let's go on to another lamb dish, and this would be a more down to earth dish. This is broiled lamb chops. All it is just lamb chops that are broiled with all the usual Boricua spices. In this case, garlic, pepper, and sofrito. Okay, now moving on. This is what we do with eggs. You know, the common eggs. I mean, we're inventive. For instance, this is a Puerto Rican frittata. This is our version of a frittata, but we have sour cream and turmeric to give it that golden color that you see right there on the plate. And next, and for the vegetarians among us, we have sweet ripe plantains. What these are green plantains that have ripened, and as they ripen, the more they ripen, the sweeter they become. It's what we call plátanos amarillos. This dish we normally serve with breakfast. Plátanos amarillos and fried eggs. Again, it's in our culture, it's like love and marriage. It can't. It's a match made in heaven. And finally, we have tembleque. This is what we do with dessert. This is our most popular dessert. It's a custard-like rendition made from coconut milk and shredded coconuts. And it makes sense since coconuts abide, coconuts grow in profusion on the island of Puerto Rico. Let me add that tembleque makes a special dessert. I mean, it is great, be it for Hanukkah or Christmas or Easter. If you want that special occasion with a special dessert, then bleque is it. Okay. So now we finished that. Let me say this, and Tyler, you can. It's me talking again. My book also, as I mentioned before, has a whole section on rums. And in this section, we give you rum recipes, everything from daiquiris to pina coladas to rum punch. So, hey, you get that an extra bargain when you buy the cookbook. You get the bus rum mixtures that that you can make. As you can see, our cooking features warmth, sensuality, and it is immensely available and immensely adoptable, as millions of Puerto Rican families have come to discover while living in a northern climate. Now, that being said, let me say that, as I stated before, we Puerto Ricans, Nuyorican, have been on the American mainland for quite a while, and our cuisine has been distinctly influenced by American culture. Case in point, back when I was growing up in Spanish Harlem, Wednesday night was always spaghetti night. And those of you, the people from my generation, the older ones among you, will remember the Ronzoni. Remember the Ronzoni spaghetti commercial that said Wednesday night was spaghetti night? Well, in our family, that was it. That was lore. However, my mother, when she made the pasta, the spaghetti, she would give it a Nuyorican slam by topping it with something like, let's say, pollo aguisado, or let's say stewed chicken made with all the Boricua condiments. But that would be our pasta dish. You know. Also, in my family, we are crazy about two things: cheesecake and mac and cheese. I mean, apart from tembleque, to us, cheesecake is it. I mean, especially New York cheesecake. I mean, I've tasted others, but hey, New York cheesecake is good. It's not Nuyorican, but it's a great dish for a great occasion. I mean, something special to have. In terms of mac and cheese, we can have it for anything. Lunch, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So you see, we have been influenced by outside influence within the culture. Basically, it's this. Like most other groups, we have adopted to our new homeland, keeping the best of our Puerto Rican and cuisine and culture, at the same time taking in everything else that American society has to offer. So let's say this: our cooking, our cuisine is not only historical, it is delicious, and guess what? It is yet to be discovered. Thank you. I think now we cue into back to Ms. Bullock.
So we're going to let you take a look at the questions that are coming in your chat, Oswald.
Let me go, yep.
And you should see some questions there.
Again, let me say this: Puerto Rican cuisine is something new. So it's like, really, it's something that you may not know about, but it matches along with, I would say, with all the cuisines in the world, be it French cookery, be it Scandinavian, be it Mexican, whatever you have it. And this is from Agni T. Could you please describe how you make caldo gallego? Okay, simple. Caldo gallego mainly is just, it's a broth. basically what it is. And what you do is you take, first of all, you can use chicken broth that has been, store-bought, but you have to make your own chicken broth. That means that you take the chicken, some people like, and you basically boil it until you get the broth. Now, some people like to use the chicken bones. Some people like to use the chicken skin. Some people just like to use the whole chicken, and that's basically it. Once you've had that broth, what you do is you add a few, let's say 2 or 3 cloves of garlic, okay, that have been crushed very fine. You add that. You add to the broth. You add some oregano. You add salt and pepper to taste. If you want, you can add a little bit of coloring by using the achote, and then just let it sit until it's room temperature. And that is basically your caldo gallego. It goes great with a custard bread, and it's normally the first course in every meal we have. Although some restaurants in Puerto Rico, that's what they specialize in, so they make it. That's it. In other words, you got caldo gallego, and that's the whole dinner, which is basically just as good. From Mercy, I finally remember arroz con pollo when visiting PR in 1960. Can you tell me about this wonderful dish? Yes. A little historical perspective. As we know, the Arabs were, after the Arab conquest, they ruled Spain for close to 300 years, some say maybe like 300, 400 years. And the Arabs left their mark on the Spaniards in terms of their cuisine. The Arabs introduced, for instance, they introduced rice to our cuisine. They introduced such things as cilantro. They introduced the turmeric that they got from India. So basically, arroz con pollo was an Arabic dish that was incorporated by the Spanish, and they made it into their own. I mean, next to paella, arroz con pollo is probably the most popular dish that you have in Spanish cuisine. Also in Puerto Rican cuisine as well. So we do it a little bit different, is that, we add all the, again, Taino ingredients and so forth, but basically that's how we do our arroz con pollo. Now, an arroz con pollo also contains a bit of achote, because our arroz con pollo it's yellow rice and chicken mixed together, and basically that's it. A great dish, by the way. When I came back from Vietnam, that was the first dish that my mother made for me, arroz con pollo. So it brings back great memories. From Judith, can you suggest 2 to 3 Puerto Rican cookbooks if you're beginning to cook Puerto Rican? Thank you. Well, get Miss Valda Julie's cookbook, okay? I believe it's still in print. If not, you can go to Amazon. As we know, they have everything, and you can you can get it from that. That was the primer. That was first cookbook. Then came my cookbook, and after my cookbook came one called, I think it's called A Touch of Puerto Rico. I can't recall who the author is, but that would be, again, a taste. I think it's called A Taste of Puerto Rico, and that's about. I would think 3 great cookbooks. There have been many others that have been published since then. So you have a vast cornucopia of cookbooks to choose from at this time. From Jacqueline Onassis? No. Okay, from Jacqueline. Thank you for the great lecture. Well, thank you for your interest, and thank you for tuning in. Based upon let me see. Do you have any dishes based upon repurposing the leftovers? Boy. In my mother's kitchen, the day after a meal, every dish was leftovers. Okay, yes, we have. In fact, I mean, I don't know, me and my publisher toyed with having a cookbook just made upon leftovers. Yes. Let's say you have leftover rice. What you can do with leftover rice is like, really, you can add, let's say, want to add some coloring to leftover rice? Simple. And this is sacrilege. Get some tomato paste, get some ketchup, put some ketchup, mix it up, cook it up. You got yourself red rice. Okay. You can take that rice. You can again make it a pilaf rice. You can add vegetables to it. You can make a cold salad with the rice. My mother, what she would do is, believe it or not, she would take rice, form it into balls, bread them, and make rice balls. So, I mean, with rice, you can do many things. With beans, the next day, well, you can use the beans and place them inside a soup. You can take the beans and you can mash them up and use them in place, let's say, of guacamole, and just and have it that way. So that's amazing. With chicken, again, if it's pollo guisado, like let's say stewed chicken, the next day you can take it, you can make sandwiches out of it. Just take the bones, take the pollo guisado with it, and just make like a Cuban sandwich, and you can use pollo guisado. So yes, leftovers, let your imagination reign, ingenuity. I mean, sometimes you can do things with leftovers that they taste better. In fact, they taste better than the original meal. And that can be done with Nuyorican cuisine. From Sandra W. Is there a trend to sustainable organic food production in Puerto Rico? And are poultry and cattle raised in Puerto Rico? Let me start with the last part of the, yes, cattle and poultry are raised in Puerto Rico. However, you will not find many organic cattle places on the island itself. The cattle and the poultry that is raised, it's mainly by major American conglomerates like Tyson Foods and that type of thing. So you have to. What I would do when I was visiting my parents in Ponce was, we would go to the local neighboring farms, and there's still some of them around where they would raise their own chickens and they would raise their own produce, and we would buy from them. Or, as my mother did when we were living in Harlem back, 100 years ago. My mother did not like American chickens that much. They didn't remind her too much of the island chicken. So what she would do is she would buy a kosher chicken, believe it or not. And that's what we did. We used kosher chicken until we started getting good organic products. That's what mainly what we ate. Now, to the first part of your question, is there sustainable organic food production in Puerto Rico? As I said, at this point, when I was there, I was last there about maybe, 10 years ago. There wasn't any. At this point, I don't know. Although the island has been beset by multiple tragedies and troubles. You had the hurricanes, you had the pandemic. So I would tend to think that at this point, you would have to go mainly maybe to San Juan, where you can find some organic produce or some organic products of the type that you are describing. From Lily K. Are there unfamiliar to us in the Midwest? By the way, my wife comes from the Midwest, and she probably knows more about Puerto Rican cuisine than I do at this point. Anyway, are there any unfamiliar cooking techniques that we should learn in order to cook Puerto Rican dishes? Simple. As I stated with at the beginning of my presentation. Sofrito, adobo, and achote. Adobo you can get almost anywhere these days, because again, adobo has become popular because it's used in Latin American cuisine. It's used in almost all in Central American cuisine. Sofrito you can buy in the store, although I would suggest make your own. It's not that difficult to make. And achote, want to give coloring to any food that you got? Again, take a tablespoon of annatto seeds that you can get in any store these days, and cook them in, let's say, about 2 tablespoons of olive oil or 3 tablespoons of olive oil. And you'll notice that the oil would start to tend this great color. First it'll be like a yellowish color, and then it'll come to a deep red. Whatever color you want, that's what you use, and that's what you can use for cooking in terms of Puerto Rican cuisine. Now, you say, is it only a question of using the right ingredients and seasonings? At this point, Puerto Rican cuisine has undergone that metamorphosis that is known as fusion cooking. So at this point, leave it up to you. I would say it's like wine. My mother, whether she was eating rack of lamb or whether she was eating I don't know, tostones, the one that she prepared was Molden David making heavy Malaga red. I mean, we could, and that was that, you know. We would serve that. That was it. So that was, so it's the same thing, just like wine with food. If you got the right ingredients, you can mix, you can match, and you can make, and you can come up with a great dish. Either way. From Randy S. What type of paella is enjoyed by Boricuans? Meat Valencia or seafood paella? Okay. Randy, open up a hornet's nest here. It's become, initially, when we made paella, we did not make paella. We made paella with either it was with seafood, and we added some chicken, and we added some chicken with it. In terms of, you were saying, the meat Valencia paella, we basically, in my family, we didn't make that much meat paella. It was mainly seafood and chicken. However, there are other Puerto Rican families who basically, they feel that meat paella is the best. Again, it's just, it depends on what part of Puerto Rico you go to and which family. If you go to the old folks, they would say, no, paella, seafood, that's it. The younger folks would probably say, yeah, we like meat. Again, it depends. It depends on the generational pattern. How does PR and Cuban black bean dishes overlap and or differ? Honestly, they do not. We got, again, our black bean soup. It could be. It's similar to the black bean dish in that. Really, there is no measurable difference in that we may add sofrito to our Cuban soup. I do not know. I assume Cubans use sofrito because they use it in the topic, but I don't know if they would use it as much as we do. Also, our black bean soup, to us, it's not a soup. To us, what it is a complement to rice. We make rice. Well, if it's parboiled rice, we'll have beans in it. You can call it black bean soup. We just call it habichuelas, and you know, I'm basically, and thereby hangs a tale. From Mercy I love Sazon seasoning. I use it with chicken. How else can I use it? You can use it in almost anything except ice cream. Okay, Sazon, basically. We didn't have Sazon seasoning. To us, Sofrito was the seasoning. Sazon is a new invention. And let me tell you this. It's basically MSG. Okay, remember MSG that was in Oriental cuisine, in Chinese food and Japanese food. It's mainly MSG that has been given certain, that has been also mixed with other condiments. I myself do not use Sazon. Okay, I rather use the sofrito that I make myself. And if you go to my cookbook, sofrito is very easy to make. However, if you like sazon, if you're using it, if it works with you, by all means, continue using it. If it suits your palates, hey, you're the boss. Okay. From Agni T. How much of Puerto Rican cuisine is indigenous? Can you please name a few indigenous dishes, if there are any? That is, as I said before, sancocho. Again, look at the African terms that we use in some of our cooking. Okay, mofongo. I love the word. I mean, mofongo. It just rolls on the tongue. It's spelled. It's spelled the way it's said. I mean, the way it's pronounced. You know, and mofongo, which is basically an archetypical appetizer, could be meal. I mean, crushed green plantains. Again, that is an indigenous dish. That is something that, you know, excuse me, that came with the Taínos. Sancocho, another word of African origin, which is basically this hearty stew that I had mentioned before. In my family, excuse me. We created, or my father invented a word. I don't know where he got it. He called it sambumbia. That's Sambumbia, Sambumbia. And I think it's a word of African origin, but to us, Sambumbia meant this is what you did. You didn't know what to cook, you went to the fridge. You took everything that was there that was edible, you mix them all together in one dish, and you had Sambumbia. And you know, if you use common sense, obviously you're not gonna make Sambumbia with Jello. But sometimes what you got in hand, just mix it up, doctor it up all you can. I can say all the Sambumbia dishes we've ever made, indigenous or not, they've been just delicious and a grade one. You know. So Mercy, can you tell us how to make sofrito? Okay, yeah, simple. Okay, this in fact, let me go here and just go back to my cookbook and let you know basically where or where you can have it. I will give you the the thing, but if you look at my cookbook, you see it on page 9. Okay, what you do is, okay, you take it's a mix. You take cilantro, like let's say here, depending upon how much sofrito you can have cilantro, which by the way we call culantro. You take, let's say, anywhere to 8 to 10 stems of cilantro, and you chop them fine. Then you take 1 medium green bell pepper. You core that pepper, you remove the seeds, you chop it, and you mix that with 1 clove of garlic, either finely minced or crushed. Then, this is where it says that you add ají dulce. Ají dulce are sweet chili peppers. Now you have to make the difference. If you add a regular chili pepper, your sofrito is going to be like, it's going to be like 3-alarm, Texas 3-alarm chili. So basically, you have to ají dulce that you can get in any Asian store, or you can, or most places have it. Just makes that it's sweet chili peppers, and I don't know. You take about maybe a quarter of a pound of that. You mix that, and then this is where it's really kind of, you get into a little digression here. Apart from the cilantro, apart from the green bell pepper, apart from the garlic, apart from the onion and the ají dulce, you need recao. Recao, R-E-C-A-O, is a leafy green stemmed herb that we use. Again, you can get those in any specialty stores. If you can't get the recao, then you can add parsley. You can add parsley to it. What you do is you mix this all together. You emulsify it, okay, basically, with olive oil. Now, what we do is you can put it in a jar and you can store it away and use it whenever you want. What we did in my family was we would take the sofrito, we would place them in ice trays with ice cubes, so that every time we want to use sofrito, we could use an ice cube and put that into the dish, and that would be how we would use the sofrito. But again, if you want to get it really, go to the book, page 9, and you can have that. And it also will give you a recipe for achote and a recipe for adobo as well. And adobo, like I said, is just a mix of peppercorns, garlic, and oregano. Okay. And I guess, is there anything else? No, I don't see anything else. So I guess that's it for the question and answer session. Yes.
Well, thank you so much, Oswald. This has been not only informative, but also inspiring. And I think many people are going to be very tempted to visit some of the specialty stores that you've been talking about, and try our own hand at Puerto Rican cooking. So we really, really want to thank you for sharing your knowledge with us. It's just been a delight. We also want to thank our hosts at the Ann Arbor District Library. And to tell folks that our meeting next month is going to be on Sunday, June 13th at 4 p.m. Eastern. And our speaker is going to be Christina Holden, who is going to share the history of jam making through the ages. So for more information, please check our website, culinaryhistoriansannarbor.org, for details on how to attend. Thank you all for coming, everyone. And I hope you enjoy the rest of your weekend, and maybe we'll see you next month. Bye
Thank
for
you
now.
all. Thank you.
Thank you, Oswald.